out of there. Hey, give this team credit. Coach Simpson said it in the pregame, right? We're not going to step on the field scared of anyone. We're coming out. We've got a game plan. We're going to try to run it, and they're running it, just not having much success.
Whoa.
Well, here's the snap over the head of the punter. Amore goes back inside of his own 5 to get it. Tries to punt it out of there. Punt is blocked. Football's loose inside the 5-yard line. It will be recovered, it looks like, by a Washington player, but Martinsburg will have that football.
Wow, yeah, that was a play that it lended to disaster.
Yes.
First of all, they came out and got into formation. Then they went back to huddle. Then they sprinted up to the line of scrimmage. So obviously a confusion there on how they were going to do this punt situation.
Well, and then they had to rush because by the time they got up to the line, they only had 3 seconds left on the play clock, so they barely got that off. So that's probably why the fumble, because they had to rush it.
Yeah, that'll be a loss of 22 yards before that ball is eventually grabbed, and now Martinsburg will have it in a 1st and goal situation from the 4-yard line. Banks is up under center, hands it off. Naeem Kearney off the left side. That's Asa Creamer-Gaskin as a fullback who will lead the way into the end zone. It's a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown as Kearney picks up his 3rd rushing touchdown of the first half.
And went in standing up there, basically untouched. Just followed Creamer right off the left side.
There's something you don't see every day. Ricky Barrett playing offense, he actually had the lead block on that. They brought him off of defense to provide that lead block.
Nice.
He pretty much plays wherever he's needed. Just plug him in.
Catlett again for the extra point. It is on the way, and it is good. Let's take another break with 8:16 to play in our first half. And the score now, Martinsburg 35, Washington nothing. Chris Catlett puts it on the tee at the 40 to our left, ready to approach to get away the kick. After the Martinsburg touchdown, we'll give you the drive summary in a moment. A service of 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett, trusted leadership, real solutions. Catlett approaches, and the kick, a high deep end over end kick. Return man moving up on it along the far side hash mark, has it at the 14, coming near side, getting to the 15-yard line, and then taken down out beyond the 20. Looks like they'll mark him at about the 22. We're going to see if that's the 2-4 again, and it is. It's Quentin Fletcher along that far side with that return. Drive summary for Martinsburg. Well, really not a drive at all after the high snap and then the potential blocked punt, and Martinsburg then getting the football at the Washington 4-yard line. Well, a one-play 4-yard drive. Naeem Kearney goes in from 4 yards out, 35-0 the Bulldog advantage. From their own 24, 5th offensive possession of this first half coming for the Patriots. And they have 1 first down, and that was on a roughing the passer penalty. Amore out of the gun, awaiting that shotgun snap. No, that's the direct snap to Bradbury. Bradbury looking for running room to the right, grabbed and taken down in the backfield. No place to go as big number 60, the nose guard, A.J. Brinegar, met him in the backfield.
You know, again, Matt, it's the ball game's being played on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and Martinsburg just simply manhandling the Washington interior linemen. So there's really not much chance there. But I do appreciate their effort and what they're trying to do. They're trying to establish something, and that is, let's try to run the football. We don't have time to pass it, especially deep.
Well, no gain on that play. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Once again, Bradbury stays in there at quarterback, takes that direct snap and comes off the left side of the line over his guard and tackle, pushing forward, this time out close to the 26-yard line, and we'll call it a gain of just about 3. So a 3rd and 7 coming.
Third and a long 7, and it's probably the shortest third down situation they've had thus far in this ball game.
One other 3rd and 7, and they had a procedure penalty that created that into a 3rd and 12. So, yep, this is the best opportunity on a still long 3rd down.
Still 35-0. Martinsburg leads at 6 minutes and 40 seconds as Washington comes out of huddle. They're going to get a 5-yard penalty if they don't hurry.
Well, there is the snap. Bradbury has it, looks to his right, cuts it up, and gains maybe another yard out to the 27. Once again, blanketed by a whole host of white and black-clad defenders for the Bulldogs. Brenniger leading the way, Pearson in there as well, Sign the linebacker in there, all helping to make that stop after just a pickup of 1. So the punting unit going to have to come back out again. Washington 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversions. From their own 27-yard line, they'll scrimmage this one.
The worst field position Martinsburg had thus far has been the 41-yard line of Washington after a punt. His one down on the ground.
Yeah, that one bounced to him. Got it out of there, a low-line drive that bounces near the midfield stripe, taken by Gerard Bowie along the near side of the 43-yard line. Gets a wall down the near sideline. No one's going to get him into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown, although, hold on, we've got penalty markers down back at the 30-yard line, and I've got a feeling that they are going to call one of those crackback blocks on a quote-unquote defenseless player, and we still have a Washington player down along the sideline right in front of that Patriot bench. Now that's going to nullify what would have been about a 57-yard punt return touchdown.
Well, no doubt about it, that's what the call is going to be. I mean, he took a shot. I mean, you go back a year ago, that's a legitimate play, and the reason for not allowing a crackback block anymore is simply because of that reason. I mean, that's like getting hit by a Mack truck that did not see coming.
And that is the very reason why the player is down. Can't get the number as he is down directly in front of the Washington bench. His teammates in behind him, all down to a knee. Teammates on the field down to a knee, as well as the training staff tending to the injured player. Martinsburg on their sideline, and many of their players down on a knee as well, including the offense that is in their huddle, as this penalty is going to bring the football back out to the 45-yard line in Washington territory, and that's where Martinsburg will scrimmage as we get action back underway. We'll send it to the studio. Let's take a 1-minute injury timeout. 5:47 to play in the first half, and Martinsburg in front 35-0. Well, back again at Terry L. Marcus Stadium, the injured player for Washington still remaining down on the near sideline after the crackback block on the interception return, as the INT was made by punt return for Gerard Bowie. My apologies, I misread my notes here. That was the punt return for Gerard Bowie. That would have gone for a 53-yard touchdown if not for that crackback block at around the 30-yard line right along this Washington sideline.
You know, I don't think there was anything meant by it other than just a regular football play. And like I said, a year ago, that's still a legitimate play, but And that is the reason why that particular hit has been taken out of the game, simply because you can really, really do some damage to someone, and you get hit that hard, that quickly, without seeing the person coming. Really, really tough. He's still down on the field, and hopefully it's just more precautionary than anything else.
That gives us a chance to remind you our game broadcast today, a service of Miller Honda of Winchester, Appalachian Heating and Air, WVUH East Berkeley and Jefferson Medical Centers, Bechtel Jewelers, the Berkeley County Health Department, the Mirius Group, and Ameriprise Financial Advisors John Everson and Phil McCoy, Kelly Allstate Insurance Agency, Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and Valley College in Martinsburg. Thanks to each of our sponsors supporting our coverage of high school football.
Hey, Matt, just take a look around other area teams right now in the second quarter. Musselman's beating Morgantown 7-0.
Well, and that's a game we want to keep an eye on. Matt Crawford will have more on that one coming up at the half, as well as in our post-game show, as that's really one of the big matchups, the biggest here in the Eastern Panhandle. You got Spring Mills at Boonesboro as well, and yesterday Hedgesville scored a victory as they were on the road against Preston. That was the Buckwheat Bowl as part of the Buckwheat Festival there in Kingwood, West Virginia. The injured player remaining down on the field, and as they continue to tend to him, let's go ahead and send it back to the studio and see if Matt Crawford has any more on those scores, as well as maybe one from a very important game tonight. Spring Valley and Capital 1 and 2 in Class AAA are meeting, Matt. So Spring Mills has fallen behind early in that matchup against Boonesboro. Spring Mills entering that contest at 2-3 after dropping back-to-back games against Martinsburg 2 weeks ago, and then last weekend against South Hagerstown, another tough Maryland opponent tonight, as the team going through a bit of a rough patch here in the middle of their season.
Yeah, they are, and they're a team that's still trying to find their identity. I think they're not sure exactly how they want to play in regards to their offense. They want to throw a lot, they want to throw deep, and I think they kind of abandon their run game a little bit. I think if they can get a good mixture, they can be a formidable opponent. Again, you got to strive for 500. You got to strive for 5-5, and again, that can get you in the playoffs. But if you can win the ball games that you should win, and try to maybe knock off somebody that maybe you were the underdog.
Meanwhile, Jefferson on a bye this week. The Cougars 0-5 so far on the season. Looked like they were going to get their first win last Friday night, Vic, as they had a lead at Kaiser, but things slipped away from them in that second half as Kaiser came back to get the victory in that one, sending the Cougars into a bye week, kind of licking their wounds after a very tough loss.
Yeah, that was a very tough loss. I mean, they were ahead and in that ball game comfortably and doing very, very well, and then all of a sudden, these things happen, and anyone who's been around sports, that these kind of things happen, and where all of a sudden things change, the tide seems to turn and go the other direction. So sometimes you don't get it back. Sometimes you just don't get that momentum back.
Matt, this is going to be a long delay. They're bringing in the ambulance. It just arrived.
So the ambulance has just arrived here to Terry L. Marcus Stadium. So they'll be bringing in a stretcher again. Have not yet been able to pick up the number on the player to identify who took that pretty big hit on that punt return, and we'll be keeping him in our prayers that he is doing well, and hopefully all of this is just precautionary after that big hit.
I think it's more precautionary than anything else, because right now I think he's sitting up right now and still unable to get his number, but I think they're probably going to take him in the ambulance and get him checked out anyway.
All right, let's go ahead and send it back to the studio. Let's take a full 2-minute timeout, and then we will return. We'll recap the scoring in this one as we have 5:47 to play in our first half, and Martinsburg out in front of Washington 35-0. Mm-hmm.